Well, as we continue to mark Women's Month, we turn our attention on how women in South Africa navigate their respective careers. Today, we speak to Penny Shozi. She's a distinguished coach and mentor renowned for her commitment to unlocking her clients' full potential with an impressive background that includes an MBA, various industry certifications, and experience across sectors such as infrastructure, mining, and IT. Shozi combines her extensive knowledge with a passion for guiding individuals and teams towards success. Now, her coaching focuses on prioritizing key aspects of life and business, enhancing leadership skills and fostering high-performance teams. She joins me now in studio to speak about just various things that are affecting women in her industry. Thank you so much, Penny, for your time. So prior to you becoming a coach, I mean, as we've read in your introduction, you have been really instrumental in the business development in various industries. Just how important was this background for you to then pivot into coaching?
Thank you, Nasi, for having me. I think it's really important to have a grounding of your industry and understanding different aspects, especially as a coach, because as a coach, you're not really an expert. You are there to probe and ask the questions and insights. And really, so to be able to interact with different industries and comfortable in your own space, I think that's also important because you want to bring comfort to the person that you're coaching. So it's very important to have that grounding and have that understanding of business and corporate sector. Yeah.
Now, I mean, you coach a wide range of people, and I would imagine they're both in business as well as they're entrepreneurs, men and women. Just talk to us about some of the underlying issues that you are seeing, particularly as it comes to women in the corporate South Africa.
I think really, as women, we are seen as really imbogodo and being able to do multitasking. But it's also important to sit back and look and say, what are the key things that make women tick? What are the key things that would actually unleash the potential in a woman? Because that's different to a man. And therefore, it's important to understand your way of coaching, the way of interacting with your client, and finding those solutions, because it's a process of really finding solutions together and learning together, and also unlearning, because a lot of things as women, we have been learned or told to do things in a certain way. So we need to unlearn to actually unlock the potential.
And I'm glad you're raising that, because one of the things that has shown us, how different we need to think and work is COVID-19.
Exactly.
We saw how with COVID-19, a lot of people all of a sudden realized, well, maybe more were doing it before, but many realized that they could actually pivot and do something else, or they could have multiple income streams. I mean, how important is that in terms of just the change that we are seeing in various industries that affect women?
It's actually very important, because what COVID has taught us is anything can happen. So you really need to be agile in your way of being and the way of working. And so with that, we're saying as women, let's start finding those other opportunities. Let's start finding other sources of income, not just concentrate on one source, but being able to multitask. I mean, we do that all the time as women. We look after our kids, we take our kids to school, we still clean up the house, and we still go back to work, and you still get home and need to cook. So that has been a culture in terms of women. So why don't you extend that to then making money for yourself and being financially able to do that for yourself? So that's really an aha moment for women.
Yeah, how do you coach somebody who is trying to enter into that space, or at least whilst they still have, they work, their job, they want to do something else, they want to stretch their other talents. But one of the biggest stumbling blocks is obviously opportunity, as well as, just financial literacy. Where would one start?
I think you need to have an educational background, understand yourself as well, understand who you are, your own weakness and strengths, and that would help you to then unlock your own potential. So really, when I coach, it's about setting the goal. Unless you are really clear on the goal, which takes a lot of time sometimes, but it's really important, because once you know your goal, then you're actually set for life. But it's that unstuck when you're stuck that we need to do first.
I mean, you would find that a number of people want to remain where they are, but the environment is not necessarily conducive. They either work with somebody that really does not want to meet them where they would want to then, work. And then it makes it a very toxic environment. I mean, how does one navigate that space whilst you want to, climb the corporate ladder as per se, or even do that in an entrepreneurial basis, but because of just the challenges of being a woman, there's no support necessarily for women?
I think, change is always difficult. So that's about change. It's also about knowing that for you to be in a comfortable space, you need to deal with discomfort and understanding how do I deal with discomfort and being comfortable in an uncomfortable space, because that's what happens. You now need to find comfort in this space that is not as comfortable for yourself, and then start moving forward and pushing to actually extend yourself. I think that's also very important, because when you're starting a business or starting a side hustle, it's that push that you need, and you need to have it internally. You need to first internalize what you want to do before you can actually externalize and start reaping the rewards of your own thoughts, just managing your thoughts as well.
Yeah, I mean, something else that you do, and let's just take it to another personal level, is that you've started a non-profit organization that also helps women. I mean, just take us through how you do what you do and also have time to then run an NGO, and what's the inspiration behind that?
I think, Unati, what actually inspired is that when you are doing something that you love, you then find other avenues of extending that love to other things. So that's how I actually started with the NPO. And I was driven by the thought of saying, as a person who comes from a disadvantaged background, how do I support other women that would want to do what I do, or perhaps find the best of themselves? Because I say that, you need to unlearn, and then you need to find your own niche, right? And then also you need to then say, with this niche, what can I do? And so it's important for me to then say, let me have that conversation with other women, and perhaps people who are scared to start, because, starting something is very scary. So, and people normally say, just start, and when that happens, then the whole world opens. So I do that with the NPO, and I do that with young girls as well. We have leadership camps where the young girls are actually staying with us for at least 3 days to understand yourself. Because sometimes you get into, just as women, you get into a relationship, and a relationship with self you don't have. You don't know who you are, and you now need to extend that to someone else, which then becomes problematic. And so starting internally, and in business, that becomes a systemic kind of coaching, where you are coaching within the system, and understanding the system. The system here in an individual is self.
All right.
How do I bring my best self out?
So you're clearly also walking the talk. Penny, if somebody's listening to this conversation and they really want to reach out to a business coach, or be it a life coach, what are the first steps that they need to take, and also what do they have to look at in terms of choosing that coach?
I think it's just about, we normally as coaches, we have chemistry sessions, so you look at coach directory. That's where most of the coaches are. And you'll find, when you read a profile, you'll find something that speaks to you. But what's also important is understanding that this coach is someone who's helping you find solutions. They're going to be asking you questions. So the work begins with yourself. You must be able to reflect. And it's not a mentor. That's also a difference. A lot of people don't see the difference between a coach and a mentor. And you are looking perhaps for a mentor instead of a coach, which is a different aspect of perhaps finding those opportunities for yourself. So a coach is someone that might not even have is not an expert, so might not even know anything about your job, Onati, but you are there to speak to them, and someone who's not going to judge you, because that's what happens when you want to leave your job and you say, oh, I want to leave my job. If you speak to someone, they're like, oh, what's going to happen, and you have bills to pay. So a coach wouldn't judge you, but would help you understand and maneuver through that process.
So different, of course, also to a mentor and different to a psychologist,
exactly.
I would see.
Yes.
But Penny, thank you so much for your insights and thank you so much for your time. Of course, that was Penny Shozi. She comes with a world of experience and background, of course, in coaching as well as business development. Thank you so much, Penny, for your time.